Alright, a quick rundown of what you're going to need to pull the radiator out of a 95 Corvette C4 with an LT1. If you didn't know, I've got a bit of an issue with my trans cooler and my radiator. Something inside of it cracked, and now I've got, well, I had before I drained it, a big pink milkshake, so I'm replacing the entire cooling system. New 3-core radiators on the way. I'm going to do an external trans cooler. So I've already got those lines disconnected. I disconnected those before I flushed the system out to get rid of all that sludge that was forming. Luckily, I think I caught it early enough where it's not going to be a problem. So if you're looking to do this and you want to pull your radiator out, you're going to need a few things. Obviously, some tools, 7mm, that's for your fan shroud and sensor connectors. 8mm, again for the fan shroud bolts. 10mm random brackets, the overflow tank, which I have yet to pull that and clean that. I'm going to have to clean that. Might get another one of those. 13mm, got one of those for upper support brackets and AC condenser mounts. Also, that AC condenser relies on the radiator. So get some zip ties handy so you can support that, so you're not also putting a condenser in your car. And then you'll need a 15mm for radiator support bolts. Trans cooler lines, if they're still disconnected, you know, those most times, you know, you'll want to obviously use a wrench rather than a socket. So wrenches, 16 and an 18mm, again for the trans cooler lines, but I'll be bypassing those. So I'm also going to have to do some modification in order to get them to run in between the radiator and the condenser. That one's a bit of a pain to get in there. You got to put the socket on first, and then your extension will slide through. This camera not wanting. No, there we go. See, I got to pull that. I already have a trans line pulled for the cooler, and this has a nice little slot. These smaller ones are 10mm. So there's possibly two over here. I definitely see one. And there's some clips that are also 10mm. Look down in here. Got a little bit of a tight squeeze once again. Get those clips off that are holding it on, and that harness is in the way, and as you can tell, that harness is a little delicate, so I think I'm going to get in there and clean that harness up before I move forward with removing this, just so I can make sure that I'm not messing with any wires. I mean, you can, let me see if I can zoom in here. That's what we're dealing with. So I want to clean that up and make sure everything's hooked up right. Last thing I want to. Yeah, that's barely connected. Look at this. I started trying to separate these wires up a little bit. This one was cobbled in there. It's a ground. And I think it was supposed to be connected there. But check this out. That's that ground. That's going back over here. It's tied up in there. I think they tried to tee it off. Oh yeah, this is going to be a fun one to do. Here, let me. Alright, looking for advice. Corvette C4, 1995. When I bought it, this had some beautiful duct tape wiring. But the only way the fans would come on is if the AC was on. So I'm in the process of redoing the entire cooling system, water pump, radiator, etc. And I'm also cleaning stuff like this up. So this right here, that's grounded to the frame. can see there's a male and a female here. Looks like they wanted to do a little quick switch, or maybe they went down one road and decided to turn around and try something else. If you know what the heck is going on here, or what I should do, let me know. It appears that this is how it once was, but it's still odd that the fans only kick on when the air is on. Drop me a comment, let me know if you know. Oh. Look at that. That was already loose. They did half the job for me. Problem is, I don't know how I'm going to get my hand in here. I don't know. It can fit in there. Where do you go? Quite interesting. Get that out. Decent. See what's going to get those. Get in there. Right. Hold it at an angle. Well, it's rubbing. Ain't gonna do it. I don't think these needle nose are gonna. Yeah, they're not even gonna be able to open up in there. You can just feel it. I don't want to pull the front bumper off in order to get in there to deal with that. So that might be a cut job. Damn. How I'm going to get it back together, right? Yet to be determined, but once all this is out, I'll have a better view of what I'm dealing with. Right now, everything, oh yeah, we're making some progress here. Right now, everything is so damn tight. Yeah, good. It's half inch plate out. It feels like just another quarter turn out every time. I think I can. Scratch the heck out of my legs here. Sure. Here. Okay, I'm gonna. Looks like a straight shot in there. Something, yeah, I can get in there. I just need to get a tool that'll make it through that little hole and hold this up. I'm gonna go digging. I'm gonna engineer something. By engineer something, I mean dig through my toolbox so I find something that'll potentially work. Maybe a long, skinny wrench. I just need to hold that nut up. I'm gonna spray some PB Blaster on it in the meantime, because clearly it's been open to the elements, and it's probably rusted too, which isn't helping me. Good thing is I can spin it pretty freely. Alright, we're gonna fast forward a little bit because I didn't plan on resolving the issue with this bolt here, but I was actually able to take a wrench and put it between the bolt washer and the radiator shroud here, and hold it up with just enough pressure where I could use the socket to remove the bolt that had a square that basically broke off the welds inside of the frame tube. So that's now gone. So today fans are coming out. I'm going to get those cleaned. I am going to end up replacing the fan motors. They still work. Here I am contradicting myself with the Opti conversation. They still work. But for 20 bucks, why not throw some fresh new fan motors on there just to make sure that they're going to continue to work. And that thing just needs a good cleaning all in there. I'm cleaning the frame. I'm cleaning everything up here. I'm going to tidy some stuff up. I'm going to touch up some of the black paint. This bracket down here is a little gnarly, so I'm going to wire wheel and paint that up. So I'm just going to spend a greater portion of this video working from here forward before I turn all my sights on the water pump. I probably should use my GoPro for this one because there's a little bit of water in there. I spend my day on the computer, so to be able to get out after a day of work and work on a project like this, it's so therapeutic. Last thing I want to do is break one of these damn dusting tabs off. Alright, there's my thought. I might be an idiot. Nope, I'm an idiot. Alright. Alright. Right. Well, as you can tell, I'm working on a lot of this myself. So, I'm sure that's going to be easy. There's another wire keep. No. I'm trying to pop that way out. Got that one out. Alright. We're getting places, people. We're getting places. I don't even know if the camera caught any of that. We got them out. There. Wire keep. There. In the middle. And then harness over there. I'm going to get cleaning on this. And then we're going to call it quits for the radiator removal video because, look, it's out. The next one we're going to start working on will be water pump. Tidying some of this up, obviously, you know, thermostat and all that, and then taking this all apart, including the Opti, because whether I end up replacing it or not, it's got to come out. I want to check the bearings on it. I want to clean it. The block is nasty. I got to clean the block because there's definitely a couple gaskets that need to be replaced. We've come this far. I'm not just gonna throw it back together so I can go for a ride as bad as I want to. So yeah, we're gonna focus on this for the remainder of the video, get it cleaned up, and then we're gonna call it. And just some purple degreaser. This is totally overkill. I know, this is overkill. But you tell me other time you're gonna have to focus on this stuff. Hopefully I never have to have this part again. I'm probably gonna rinse down there with the hose, but this close to the engine, I am not bringing the hose anywhere near this. The radiator's out, but the shroud was kind of a pain. If you remember, back in the beginning, there is a square welded to the underside of the box frame that came loose, and I had to do some finagling. I ended up using, I think it was a 10mm wrench, put some pressure on the top of the bolt head, and then backed it out that way, and that was successful. So I'm going to have to figure out my option for that when I go to put it back in. There is a hole in the frame, so I might be able to get creative with that. And then, again, those 7mm that drove me crazy. This thing would have been out a day ago, but I had to pull the coolant recovery tank out, or the overflow tank, should I say, out, and get in there. I thought there was just one. Turns out there was two. I should have read that factory manual. But yeah, I'm just going to continue cleaning this up, wiping it down, and putting it to bed for the night. If you're just watching this for the first time, I've got a 95 Corvette C4. It's got 126,000 miles on it. Ran great up until it didn't. And when I say it didn't, obviously it didn't just stop, but the transmission started acting a little weird. I was low on fluid, checked it, and upon checking it, realized it was about a quart low. So I added some to it, put it to bed for the night, came out the next morning, took it for a drive, got it up to temp, came back, and there you can see that little hose right there. That was spraying water up on the hood, which made me go, all right, something's wrong. I got to replace a hose. No big deal, 20 bucks. Then I looked at my coolant level to see how much I had lost, and that's where everything went sideways. There was transmission fluid in my coolant, which means the radiator that I just pulled out was compromised between the transmission cooler and the coolant channels. And so, new radiator. And while I'm doing that, I might as well go ahead and just do the water pump and the thermostat housing, all new hoses. And if you have the water pump off, doing the Opti. And then there's going to be some valve cover gaskets that are going to need to be redone. I'm going to do those because there is a leak. The passenger side is worse, and it's actually, there's a O-ring gasket, whatever you want to call it, on that front one. That one's leaking. So I'm going to handle that. And then I have been looking back in underneath the throttle body in the front of the engine block, and it's a little nasty in terms of, you can tell that it's either all dirt or there's some oil that the dirt is sticking to. And I'm not going to be able to get to that until I start tearing into the front, which will be in an upcoming video. So if you want to follow along, go ahead, hit subscribe. I drop shorts throughout the week from car shows and other random car things, as well as updates on the project. And then we're dropping a new video about every week. I might do 2 some weeks, just to not get too far behind on the project in terms of uploading and updating you, because I want to keep you up to date. I don't want this thing to be done a month from now. You find out it's done. I want to be able to celebrate it with you or cry together. So hit subscribe, go ahead and follow along, and we'll be back next time.